Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. Today we'll discuss the launch of AutoCAD Web.
With AutoCAD Web, you can access essential drafting and design capabilities for your everyday needs with no installation required, because you can use the familiar AutoCAD drafting tools in a simplified interface. That means that for using AutoCAD Web, all you need is the AutoCAD Web app in your mobile device, or if you're using a laptop or desktop, you can access AutoCAD Web via a web browser. The minimum requirements for web browsers are 64-bit for Google Chrome, which is the recommended one, or you could also use Mozilla Firefox or Microsoft Edge. Now, all you need to do once you are in your web browser is opening a new tab and typing web.autocad.com. Once we are there, the system will ask you for your Autodesk username and password to log in. And if you have any files here, they will be displayed. It comes with some sample files. Something that is super important to note is that you can use different storage providers. So we as Autodesk partners use Autodesk Docs, which is part of the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and we share documents and we have version control there, things like naming standards, etc. But if you are using a different storage provider, maybe you are using Box or Dropbox or Google Drive, OneDrive, you can also access files from those storage providers here using AutoCAD Web. From here, you can do different things like upload files, create new folders, or new drawings. If we go to the sample files, we have the geospatial sample, mount view sample, and the Villa project. I've already opened in a different tab the Villa project sample because it's my favorite. And I'm going to show you some of the commands that you can use here for this interface. Of course, you have layers that you're familiar with, all the properties of an item, the different color-based layers. You also have blocks, XREF, and you have traces. I don't know if you're familiar with traces, but traces is super interesting because in the old times, people used to have a drawing, and then you have this paper trace, which is transparent, and you can write on top of it. So the same concept applied to traces in the system. I've already created one with a cloud and a comment saying modify door width. When you are using trace, you can keep adding comments and markups, and the interesting part is that you can switch between trace view and the actual drawing. So if I remove this, I can make changes to the drawing elements, and that will be there. But if you don't want to modify the drawing itself and it's just comments, you can switch this to off. Then you can also rename the actual traces. So for example, if this is referring to the door, I'll rename it to door. And then our second trace is referring to these stairs. So we can go ahead and rename this to stairs. Once we've finished our traces, we can simply click check. And that's it. It's quite simple to use, but it's very powerful. And beside traces, we also have our basic commands for drawing, annotation, and modify. If you know the drawings by heart, like for example, a very typically used command, which is line, you can type just L or line and click enter. And then you can simply draw that line here. So we see that we can snap. In this case, we have the snap activated for the endpoints, but actually I want to draw a line in the middle. So to activate the snap for other areas, all you need to do is go to settings. And here in Object Snap, I can see that I have my endpoint activated, intersection, extension, but I'm looking for the midpoint. So I'm going to check this box. And after that, to draw my line, again, I can come here to draw and click this option, or just type L or line as we did before. So now I'm getting my midpoint snap, and you can generate the line as needed. So again, these are some of the basic commands that are included in the AutoCAD Web. There are many more. please take a look at the application. Like in AutoCAD, you can also turn on and off Snap and Polar and Ortho from the bottom right menu. And what is really interesting is that in the preferences and the settings, you can also modify certain things like the theme. You can switch between a dark theme and a light theme depending what you prefer. And of course, there are other things here like the ribbon, selection settings, tracking, snap that we mentioned, the units, and navigation. This is just for the zoom. So if I click reverse, when I am trying to zoom in and zoom out, it will do the opposite as usual with the mouse wheel. So I'm just leaving it as standard because it's the one that I like. But again, you have a lot of options here that you can take a look at. I hope that this is useful for you, and we are very excited for this launch. Hopefully we'll have more news for you in the future. Take care and see you next time.